You found us early, maybe by mistake. It's Emil. It's Emil Guillermo. Emil, I'm up to you. Coming to you early. I usually we're on at 2 p.m. live Pacific, but circumstances beyond our control. We're coming on live now, almost without alerting anybody. It's just a grand accident. We're here. We're going to talk about E.Jean Carroll. I know that's on your mind, right? Because she's getting 83.3 million. We hope if justice really prevails, she will get the 83.3 million. But anyone who has been involved in any kind of suit of that nature, you know that collections are everything. You know, I mean, I learned this lesson in the 70s at small claims court when some towing company banged up my car. I went to small claims. I won the claim. Just try collecting out of these, monster tow truck companies in Boston. Not easy. So collecting is going to be a big part of the problem. But still, we must bask in the glory of the victory of E.Jean Carroll. It's a victory, as I say in my All-Def blog, my column. I call it a column. Is it a blog? It's bloggy, but it's kind of a column too. I wrote columns before. No, it's kind of a blog. No, it's kind of a column. On the ALDEF blog, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, aldef.org, aaldef.org/blog. I write this because I want to make E.Jean Carroll an honorary Asian American. I mean, she's really white, Emil. Do you know that? Well, yeah, come on. For what she went through, Asian Americans know what E.Jean Carroll went through at the hands of Donald Trump. Well, the words of Donald Trump. The words of Donald Trump during the pandemic were, well, China flu, Kung flu, China virus. And it wasn't just Chinese people who were impacted by that phrase, by the reckless phrasing. It was any Asian American who happened to be around a cult-like MAGA follower of Trump, who saw what Donald Trump said about Asian Americans during that time as a kind of green light to, yeah, they caused this. They wrecked our lives. We're going to wreck theirs. And from this hashtag Stop Asian, or Stop AAP I Hate, thousands of instances from minor to major. I mean, really, it was a situation where it was like open season on Asian Americans. And people saw that, right? I mean, it was like happening during the pandemic. And Trump tried to walk back the words, but, he didn't have his heart in it. He really meant it. Kung flu, China virus. And his followers heeded the cry. And we saw the transgressions from minor to major to even some deaths. And then we had the Atlanta spa killings perpetrated by white supremacists or people who had those kind of leanings. They saw from the manifestos, from the writings. Robert Aaron Long was convicted for some. I don't know if Fannie Willis is still going to go after him. She says she's going to go after him for the death penalty, but is it overkill? I think that case is kind of on hold. But this was a situation in the last couple of years. Asian Americans know that. We know what it's like to be on the other side of that Donald Trump's loose lips that wrecked many people's lives. Here's the thing that gets me. It's not like you can go to a court and say, hey, Donald Trump said this and we felt the pain. We were violated. We had violence against us, some to the point of death. You can't say, oh, that's Donald Trump's fault. Okay, I get it. But it was Donald Trump's fault. And we must acknowledge that it was Joe Biden who came forward and had to remind people in executive orders that, hey, look, Asian Americans they're Americans too. Honor and respect them. Thank you, Joe Biden. When Biden took office, he realized he had to do that. How many times has that happened? When people are singled out, an ethnic community is singled out because the violence toward Asian Americans was so great at that time. So do we know what it's like? How E.Jean Carroll feels? I mean, I think we have a sense. And that's why I think E.Jean Carroll, I think all of America has a sense of what it's like to be victimized by Donald Trump in a way. So I honor her. And so read my column on the ALDEF blog, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, ALDEF, AALDEF.org/blog. And you'll see how I just outline what Carroll went through. I mean, what got me during the testimony of, the most recent testimony is when she gets up and she talks about sleeping with a loaded gun. She is so in fear of the MAGA types, the Trump types who are coming after her for saying and doing what she's doing to protect her honor, that she has to sleep with a loaded gun next to her bed. Now, I mean, I know Asian Americans during the pandemic, because of Trump's words, they were terrified. They wouldn't go out. And it wasn't so much the pandemic that they were afraid of, or the virus. It was they're afraid of followers of Trump who would say, they're blaming us. They're scapegoating Asian Americans for the pandemic. And they're coming at people I know were jumped. And now you can say, come on, Emil, that's just ordinary urban life. Well, maybe that's why, you can't connect it exactly to Trump, but I just know when Donald Trump used that reckless phraseology, Kung flu, China virus, and everyone started repeating this is why we're living in the way we are. Well, that directed everyone's ire, everyone's xenophobic hate toward Asian Americans, and the numbers are there. We see the rise. The Stop AAPI hate folks, they like I said, it's from minor to major, the transgressions, from people using slurs, people spitting on Asians, to outright violence, people getting knifed, people getting shot. And a lot of them were older people, women. I mean, it's curtailed somewhat, and now you can say, okay, we're in a kind of normal now. This, the normal amount of Asians who will get jumped or accosted in an urban setting. Well, that's normal now, but in the pandemic, it was to new heights. Check out the Stop AAPI hate folks for the stats there. So my feeling about E.Jean Carroll is really that, she, for what she went through in that trial against Trump, she's really democracy's hero, And I know if you were watching this case, right? And we were all wondering, considering the number of Trump legal entanglements he's in, we were wondering what was going to happen if we were going to get a sign, and we got a sign. The system really works. Evidence was heard in court. Justice prevailed for Carroll. Donald Trump can be held accountable. That's the message. It's not easy to challenge the ex-president in court and win. But Carroll not only had one civil trial last year where she got something like $5 million, right, on the assault, when Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault. But there was this case about defamation he was found liable for defamation. And this trial, this recent trial, was just to figure out what the damages would be. The compensatory and the punitive damages. And as we all know, they were not puny. I mean, but this is a language that Donald Trump understands. 83.3 million. It's numbers and dollar signs. But there's still the question, will it sink in? Trump continues to call it absolutely ridiculous and says he'll appeal. Yeah, and as I said, E.Jean Carroll is going to have to see if she can collect the money once appeals, because it looks like the grounds for appeal are somewhat limited. This was not a witch hunt, as Trump claims. And all he could do at this last trial was try to muddy the waters and distract things by saying, well, bringing up already settled issues. They didn't allow me to do this. They didn't allow me to bring up this. No, you should have brought that up in the finding that you defamed her. This is only to figure out the dollar amount to keep you from doing this again, Donald Trump. So somehow they didn't get the whole purpose of this second trial, which is only for damages, only to figure out what amount could be put out there that would keep Donald Trump from harming himself. What kind of monetary straitjacket can we place on Donald Trump? 83.3 million. That's what they said. I mean, it was, some experts said it may be 10, 12 million. After all the evidence was heard, the jury, nine people on that jury said $83.3 million. That breaks down to $7.3 million in other compensatory damages. Compensatory. Like, because of this, she lost that. So there was 11 million plus 7.3. And then on top of that is the gravy. The punitive damages, where the sky was the limit, where it's up to the jury. For what Trump did, 65 million. So you add it all up, 83.3 million. Like I said, I hope she gets the money because she's doing interviews now. In the New York Times yesterday, she said she's asked how to use the money, and she says, I'm not going to waste a cent of this. We're going to do something good with it. And I just want to make a suggestion. You want to do something good. There are a lot of people rooting for you, E.Jean, or they rooted for you. They continue to root for you because you, in one person, you embody what many of us have felt and experienced. From the policies, from the words, from the actions of Donald Trump. And you, because of your circumstances, you got 83.3 million. So she's looking for what to do, splurge on one luxury. She was asked, she says, I'm going to be able to buy some premium dog food now. And I hope you do. Your dog deserves to be vegan. I mean, we've been vegan very, very short time for our dogs. I mean, we've been vegan a long time. But our dogs just went vegan, say, a year or two ago. Because we realized, what are we feeding our dogs? Crap. So premium dog, I approve of premium dog food. But now what should she do? She says she wants to do something good. I think consider the thousands of Asian Americans who are victimized by the hate unleashed by then President Trump, who with his phrases, Kung Flu China virus, scapegoated the community, unleashed his MAGA forces to go, I was going to say go ape, but I don't want to malign the apes. Not their fault. But I just think that, boy, a lot of those people, here's the thing about a lot of those people. A lot of people just working class people. Some, upper middle class. I mean, all sorts. But basically, you're talking about people who, when something happened, they had to go to a GoFundMe. They had to resort to going to the public and saying, help. Like I said, we can't always say, oh, this was because of Trump or this was because of something Trump said. But many of those transgressions, yeah. And the violence, just saying, a lot of people who were hurt from transgressions, a little more violent and bloody, requiring medical care. What could they do? They went to GoFundMe. So I'm just putting this in your head, E.Jean. I'm not saying that you should do it, but there have been other people who have been victimized by Trump. And when they understand what you went through and the circumstances and the disposition of the trial, they're cheering you on. In fact, I say, all of us in our bullied community of Asian Americans, we cheer you. We cheer you because your case gives us a sense, a reassurance that justice, that rule of law still works, and that it's not an empty phrase to say no man is above the law. Donald Trump can be held accountable. And that's really the best lesson about the E.Jean Carroll case. So I just wanted to say that, get that off my chest about E.Jean Carroll. I mean, it happened so late, on Friday. I talked about it on show 642 with Professor Daniel Phil Gonzalez. But I wanted to mention now, it's Monday. I also want to talk about the Super Bowl. Man, I am a bad 49er fan. I know if you're a Lion fan, I'm sorry for you. The Lions should have won. They dominated the 49ers, and I was with you. I was giving up on the 49ers, just like the 49ers gave up on themselves in the first half of that game, the NFC Championship. I grew up in San Francisco. They used to allow kids like me into the games. I used to go to the games with my buddies. If you bought a carton of milk, there was a little coupon that allowed you to go to games. And you'd sit in the bleachers, but you got to go to a real NFL game. And the games that they allowed us to see, they weren't the good games. They wouldn't let you see the Rams or any of the champions at the time, because the 49ers weren't great. They had John Brody. He was okay. Guy went to Stanford, so he's just okay. But they let you go see the Lions. I must have seen the Lions about three, 4 times. Well, they didn't play 3 or 4 times a year, but at least twice a year. So I must have seen about 3 or 4 games over the course of a couple of years. I'm this 12-year-old kid, got my milk carton. Of course, it's lousy milk because, I was sort of pre-vegan. I said, all right, I'm going to dump the milk. You get the milk, you dump it. You get the coupon, you go to the games. And there were the Lions. And the Lions had guys like Mel Farr, I think, was a running back. Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau was the linebacker. He was always tackling 49ers. And they would more often than not beat the 49ers. So I was not feeling good about this game. And then, Jared Goff has this California connection, grew up not far from the city, went to Marin Catholic, went to Cal. I was kind of sad that, oh man, the 49ers on paper should win, but that's why you play the games. So they played, you saw yesterday, the 49ers stunk the first half. They were lousy, they were no good, they were bullied. And then I don't know, something happened. You know, the Detroit Lions coach made bad decisions, wouldn't take the points, went on fourth down twice, lost, you know, didn't get the yardage, lost the ball. The 49ers had these incredible plays, like the Brandon Ayuk catch, the 51-yarder. It bounces off the face mask of a Lions player and bounces into Ayuk's hand. That is like divine intervention. That's call the game there. That's it. Divine intervention. 49ers going to win. But of course, you know, you got to play it out, and the 49ers did win. But there were a couple of times the Lions in the first half seemed so much faster, better, younger. And then in the second half, they made adjustments. They told Brock Purdy, you know, you're not Lamar Jackson, but run the ball, because they're looking for you to throw deep. They're going to keep all that underneath stuff open so you can get at least 8, 9, 10 yards. So Brock Purdy ran, thank goodness, and it opened up the game. The 49ers scored, and they came back. It was quite a game. But the lesson there in the 49er game, got to believe. You got to believe that belief is such a big thing. You know, you can be, you know, doing things that, you know, you don't have a chance. The odds are like terrible. Belief. It's all about belief. So believe. It's powerful. In the second half, I admit I was a bad 49er fan. I gave up. I said, these guys, I was preparing myself for just acknowledging that the 49ers were not going to do very well today. They were going to lose. And then one by one, these things happen. You know, the ball popping off the face mask of the Detroit defender into the arms of Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers scored. So it's a reminder. You can't forget. Believe. So that was the big thing yesterday. Let's see that. Wrote my column. You can read it on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog. And that's it. I'm on the road. And I'm going to be, I'm going to be in Fresno, not in March, at the Rogue Festival there. I'm also where I do my show, but I don't, I mean, I tell jokes, but it's more of a one-man show, more of a theatrical experience. I'm going to be at the Rogue Festival in Fresno, early March. And then I'm also going to be at the New York City Fringe in April. So I've got a new version of my Emil Amok Lost NPR host, vegan trans dad, I think, something like that. Oh, it's exciting. And then I might do it in LA. I might do it in LA. Might. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Catch my columns and catch his show. This is show 643, right? 643. And 642 is good with Daniel Phil Gonzalez, Professor Daniel Phil. And that's it. I said I was just going to do 30 minutes today and then get out. Oh, you know, I missed Sketchfest. I know that there was some great Sketchfest acts. I usually go to Sketchfest, San Francisco Sketchfest every year, just to see Maria Bamford, because Maria Bamford, crazy. I mean, my feeling for her, but I missed her at the Palace of Fine Arts. That's a good venue for her too. That's a good one. She was there with Jackie Cation. I missed it, but I hope they did well. I think they did well. I think. I'm sure Jackie Cation will talk about it on her Jackie and Laurie show. So anyway, but that was this weekend. It was a good, fun weekend. The 49ers. Oh, I won't talk about the Warriors. Not going to talk about the Warriors. Anyway, if you missed my thing about E.Jean Carroll, go back. This is on YouTube at Emil Amok 1, at Emil Amok 1 on YouTube.com. Also, it's on Facebook, fb.com/EmilGuillermo.media. It's also on, where else? On Twitter or X at Emil Amok. Catch it. Hey, I'll be back again tomorrow or the next day. We like to leave with a little meditation because it helps. Meditation is helpful. And so, as I wish for me, loving kindness, right? As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time. Mahal Gita.